on the Fringe with Dan Radio Style. Hope everybody out there's having themselves a great day. This duo is just destroying the deep state right now, destroying them. They are complaining, and they are complaining about things that, frankly, most of the public is supporting. Over 60%. And this is from ABC polls. I'm not sharing those today. They're, I think, from a couple days ago, but still. What Musk is finding, what Musk is going to next, what Trump is doing, the way the world is playing out, the way the courts are ruling. We got a lot to talk about. Also, want to let you guys know I picked my music for this coming Friday. It's going to be a fun show. We're doing what I'm calling Beatles, Doors, and More. And it's essentially, we're focusing primarily late 60s when it comes to all the songs that I've chosen. I got some great stuff from Doors and the Beatles, and then I've got a lot of good mixture of music. Kind of some of that Vietnam-ish stuff, some psychedelic type stuff. I don't know, a couple songs that are just really cool. Whatever the case, it's going to be a lot of fun. We do it live if you want to be a part of it. Do it live. We'll do it live. We'll be doing that 3 p.m. Friday, 6 p.m., 3 p.m. Pacific, 6 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Central. I always got to think about that when I try to. I know my time really well, but yeah, the math is tricky. Tricky, I say. All right, let's get into it. Another plane crash. This is in Canada, so not necessarily the FAA's fault. This time, anyways. And I'm pretty sure planes aren't supposed to be upside down, last I checked, unless they're doing some sort of cool thing, but not on the ground. Generally, their wheels are on the other side. I think nobody died. There was like 3 critical injuries. I think we'll get there in a second, at least thus far, that we know of. But nobody died, surprisingly. The plane is upside down, and nobody died.
We're in Toronto. We just landed. Our plane crashed. It's upside down. Fire department's on site. We're upside down. Everybody, most people appear to be okay. We're all getting off. Some smoke going on.
I would assume it's cold as hell, first off. Second off, those emergency slides don't work that way, right? Because they're above, like if you're upside down, they'd be above the door and they'd just come down in front of the door and kind of cause problems for you, which is funny. So you obviously don't see any of those put out. So an update from ABC News out there. 15 people have been taken to the hospital, or hospitals accordingly. 2 people were airlifted to Toronto Trauma Center, and 1 child was transported to a children's hospital. Again, critical injuries for 3 people. What caused the plane to flip and catch fire was not immediately clear, but the investigation is clearly underway. How a plane flips over, I'm assuming weather or wings. It would fall down and hit its wings. Like, the flip over is, wow. Like, and you can't really land them that way. So, my man. We've also got an interesting story about a large fire erupting in an industrial complex in Pennsylvania. This is closing schools. They've got some video of this. Check this out. It's kind of crazy. Obviously, no audio. But this is a pretty big blaze. It started just at 9:30 p.m. Eastern at a 560,000 square foot complex housing SPS Technologies, a manufacturing company in Jenkintown, Pennsylvania, about 10 miles north of Philadelphia. Company produces nuts and bolts and other items for industries, including aviation. I think they're trying to hide some records. Had a lot of plane crashes lately. Almost got to wonder if something's tied into that. SPS Techno. Again, this is where I always talk about like DRS, like Skold.com. Just the companies that are tied up in some of the deep state stuff. I think we're going to be just shocked how it all plays out in the big picture. But it is what it is. Elon Musk posted this. The real reason so many Democrats are upset about entitlements, Social Security, Medicaid, Medi-Cal, all that crap, right? The reason they're upset about entitlements, fraud investigations, is that they are using your taxpayer money as handouts to attract and retain illegal immigrants, their future voters. That's what this is all about. They're literally spending all that entitlement money on illegals because they didn't have any money for them. So they were just going to just bleed us dry. They were either how they sold it to the deep states, whatever. Like they were going to bleed us dry. I think a bunch of people are just like, as long as they got stuff shoved in their pockets, they didn't care. Maybe some of them didn't actually understand what was really happening to the country. And then I think a good number of them were intentionally like, F those American people, F them, right? Like, just horrible. Elon Musk posted this as well. Who is confirming that gold wasn't stolen from Fort Knox? Maybe it's there, maybe it's not. The gold is owned by the American public. We want to know if it's still there. Mike Lee has said, as a U.S. Senator, I've tried repeatedly to get into Fort Knox. Fort Knox's answer, you can't come to Fort Knox. So this will be very, very interesting to see where the Fort Knox game is played. Now, some funny things have been posted by Musk. Oh, I think I've got that somewhere. Essentially, it was him using a meme for The Simpsons, I believe it was. And it was just like, where's the gold? It's like, that's the answer. Like, nobody knows where it's at. We're wondering if it's there. Or it's gone, or something to that effect. Hopefully it'll pop up somewhere. It would have done a better job than I just did, that's for sure. Mehdi Hassan posted this to J.D. Vance, which he responded. But she said, hey, J.D. Vance, I know you're busy lecturing the Europeans on free speech, but have you seen this? And then shares Mark Caputo. He says, President Trump's decision to limit AP reporters' access is as much fight over the Gulf of America as it is a protest of what White House advisors say is years of liberal word choices that AP influencer, blah, 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 right? Whatever. And J.D. Vance, he replies to her, I assume it's a her, probably wrong, says, yes, dummy. I think there's a difference between not giving a reporter a seat in the White House press briefing room and jailing people for dissenting views. The latter is a threat to free speech. The former is not. Hope that helps. Yeah. Kind of douchey, but I like it. It works. Here's some more updates regarding the Kash Patel vote. Sounds like it's either going to happen today or tomorrow, or maybe Thursday at the latest. Sounds like. Anyway, he's going to tell us, and hopefully I remembered sort of close to correct.
Hey, I'm just outside of, it says Hall Estate. What this is this where almost all your major media outlets for D.C., with the exception of CNN, is. I just walked out of doing a Fox interview this morning. I want to kind of give you an update what's on the agenda for this week. First of all, today we go in at 5:30 in the Senate, and we'll confirm Howard Lutnick, and then we'll proceed with the procedural motion to move to executive order, which executive order is when we start doing really nominees. Legislative is when we start doing bills. We have to move from legislative to executive. That's what we'll do today. And then we'll put Kash Patel on the clock, which means we could vote on him really as early as tomorrow if the Democrats want to play nice with us, which I doubt they will. More than likely, we'll be voting on him on Thursday morning. And then we'll get a few other noms done to this week, too. As we go through the process, I'll make sure I keep you guys updated.
And the only reason I say today is because I actually did see something that suggested that, but I trust what he's saying more. So, yeah, more likely tomorrow/Thursday. Probably Thursday. We'll see. They're going to drag it out, I think, as far as they can. That's what they're all about. You guys know that. TWC, the wellness company. I love these guys. TWC, they've got some really powerful products, and one of them I found on accident. This one blew me away. Again, I love their contagion kits. I'm very, very fond of the contagion kit. It's all about trying to make sure you can handle any virus that's thrown at you. It's got a number of great medicines that come with it. It talks about acne, rosacea, right? All these crazy things, bronchitis, COPD, lice. This will help with, just crazy stuff. Sinus infections, which is true. Anything that's an infection, you've got it covered. Anything that's just a virus, you've got it covered. That's what's beautiful about this contagion kit. And if you use it, and it's for one person, as they say, but I think the numbers, he could probably, I think, get away with two, but whatever. It's for one. That's what the rules are. It's what they say. It's what you should agree to verbally, whatever. You just know what you know. 25 tablets ivermectin. You've got 20 tablets hydroxychloroquine. Azithromycin, you've got 12 tablets, which, by the way, is an antibiotic. That's that whole you got an infection, you got that covered. Tamiflu is an antiviral as well. So you got ivermectin, hydroxychloroquine, and you've got the generic Tamiflu. And also on top of that, you get Pulmicort, which is, or generic Pulmicort, I should say, which is like asthma medicine, but it helps open up your respiratory. So if you're just can't breathe, right? Like you got it bad, and it's in that upper respiratory area, which is where a lot of these infections seem to be going lately. You've got 5 vials and the nebulizer to be able to handle that. This is a powerful thing. Now, the other one I found accidentally is this, what they're calling anti-aging, which is funny. Well, we should look at both. I want to see what longevity is all about, but this one jumped out at me. This is crazy. So this has ivermectin and mebendazole. That's like one of those little ingredients we've heard about, but what they're calling this is the parasite cleanse. For those of you that know, you know. A parasite cleanse. Any of you guys going through any of the parasitic type things, right? And I can only say what I can say, but this is an amazing way. Ivermectin and mebendazole is huge, dual action. You've got a 90-day supply, 3-month supply at the price. Think about what it's doing, and then reassess at that point. And especially some of you guys that have tests coming up, maybe within 3 months, 6 months. Highly recommend checking it out, because this is really, we've heard all about this. This is some of the pretty powerful stuff. And then what's the other anti-aging? I want to see what longevity is all about. What is this? This is some powerful, what is this? Our science breakthrough longevity formula maintains youthful cellular function, helping you feel your best no matter the year you were born. Target the root cause of aging with liposomal glutathione, the master antioxidant. Ooh. And nicotinamide. It sounds like it's got nicotine in there, by the way, for all you guys that are all up on that one. And riboside. It's got a thing there. And then resveratrol, or Veratrol. This age-defying combination helps your cells clean up dirty DNA to increase energy production and reduce inflammation. Wow, that's kind of crazy. Supports graceful aging, promote DNA repair, clean out cellular waste. They just got really cool stuff. They've got a whole bunch of supplements that are the spike support. If you're worried about the spikes floating around, I really think if you just keep your immune system in good shape, you're not going to worry about it, which they've got, immune support and detox. They've got kids stuff. They've got everything. You guys are going to love it. Go to twc.health/OTF. That's twc.health/OTF. Remember, anti-aging is going to find you a couple cool things. Med kits. They've got emergency kits. They've got that contagion kit. They've got a whole bunch of stuff. twc.health/OTF. twc.health/OTF. Make those steps to keep yourself healthy, because, frankly, they don't want you to be. They don't want you at all. DOGE discovered 4.7 trillion with a T, trillion in Treasury payments that were missing the critical code. This traceability is almost impossible for $4.7 trillion of expenditures, which means they use it sometimes, except when it's something they don't want to be easily traced. We're getting to the bottom of it. They are not liking it. Now, we remember our good friends in North Carolina, or even our good friends in California, because I believe they've got the same price up there. But they get $750 each. But each person that comes running across the border, they get a $3,500 debit card, free cell phone, free food, and free housing. These people got $750. Yeah. Notable FEMA SSP grants of $10 million or more allocated to non-government organizations and local governments for migrant services in fiscal year 2024. Catholic Charities of San Diego, they got $21.5 million. Catholic Charities San Diego, again, $19.5 million. Catholic Charities of San Antonio, $17 million. Catholic Charities of San Antonio, again, $11 million. City of Los Angeles, $22 million. Commonwealth of Massachusetts, $15.5 million. Save the Children, Fairfield County, Kentucky. No, Connecticut. $15.9 million. Border Servant Corps, Inc., New Mexico, $15 million. Jewish Family Services San Diego, $22 million. Mission Border Hope Eagle Pass, $12 million. El Paso County, $16.6 million. New York City, $38.8 million. New York City again, $22.1 million. New York City again, $20.4 million. State of Arizona, 19.2 million. Pima County, Arizona, 21.8 million. Pima County, again, 18.7 million. Maricopa County, 11.6 million. San Diego County, again, 19.5 million. City of Atlanta, 10.8 million. City County of Denver, 12.6 million. And, of course, City of Chicago at 12.2 million. Roughly $641 million of FEMA taxpayer funds were allocated to these non-government organizations. Many could say that's not that much money. It's a waste no matter what. It's not what the money's for. You guys are using it for things it's not supposed to be used for. And on top of that, we've got Catholic or religious, there's Baptist ones and Lutheran ones that were showing up. There's religious stuff being tied into this where there should be a separation of church and state, yet here they are getting government funds. All of that is all sorts of fishy, all sorts of smells bad, period. This is going to probably piss you off a wee little bit, and it should.
Here is Rory Stewart explaining his connection to USAID.
Stopped. Doesn't matter. You have a contract. So, Turquoise Mountain, which my wife Shoshana runs, has a contract, had another $1 million to go. Money just stops.
Oh, hold on. Wait, there's a contract between some organization and USAID, and the contract stopped. And hold on, his wife ran that organization, and they were supposed to get another $1 million from the U.S. government, and that just stopped? What organization does his wife run? It's called the Turquoise Mountain Foundation. You can't make this up. The Turquoise Mountain Foundation exists to teach Afghani peasants about degenerate modern art.
So this is in some ways often called the first piece of conceptual art.
این را که ما می‌بینیم نمونه اینه بعضی مردم اولین کار هنری مفکوره‌ای میگن.
Does anyone know what it is?
شما کسی می‌فهمه چی است؟
I don't expect the ladies to know.
کمود است، کمود.
Exactly. An artist called Marcel Duchamp, who's very important in Western art, put this toilet in an art gallery about 100 years ago.
That's where your money's going. Your money is going, or was going until Trump got hold of it, to pay off the wives of British politicians turned Yale professors to teach Afghanis who probably have more important things on their mind about how perverse Western anti-artists decided to pretend that urinals and toilets were, Caravaggio paintings in the early 20th century.
Or how douchey Duchamp is, right? Just a question that should be thrown out there to anybody paying attention at home. If you're playing the home game, sometimes it helps. Again, another funny little moment. Lady worked for the Social Security Administration for 30 years. She's been in charge for God knows how long, and God, she's quit since all this information came out that's showing that we've paid tens of millions of people that are over the age of 110 Social Security benefits, and, well, it goes much further than that. I've shared the numbers already, but just to kick them while they're down a teeny tiny bit.
Elon Musk's Department of Government Efficiency, or DOGE, seeks data access to the Social Security Administration. A top official is stepping down. The acting commissioner, Michelle King, stepped down after she says DOGE worked to access the sensitive personal data of millions of Americans. That data includes income, addresses, retirement benefits, and often medical records for an American with a Social Security number. King had been with the Social Security Administration for more than 30 years.
Now, again, I sort of guess misspoke. I said tens of. It really should have been over 10, if we're going to be really sneaky about it. But, over 10, close to 15 almost. Over 110. So over 15 million people have been getting a check over $1,000, which would be the equivalent of $15 billion just here. Going to who is the question. And then, of course, there's a bunch of other stuff in there, I'm sure. There's people that are older than that. So there's a lot of stuff that obviously needs to be cleaned up. How many of those people are still on voter rolls? I'd also like to wonder
Elon
about.
Musk.
Not that that's something that Musk is trying to figure out, but that's something every one of us should be asking in our own states. Jim Jones, the FDA's Deputy Commissioner for Human Foods, which is kind of interesting. Human foods, I guess dog foods, animal foods would be the other side of that. It's kind of a funny that's spelled out in the title. Anyway, I tripped on that. Human foods. This guy's in charge of that part. And obviously with Kennedy coming into play, this guy maybe was talked into stepping aside. But he resigned from his post at the agency, according to multiple sources. The move comes after Trump administration over the weekend fired thousands of employees across HHS, including many within FDA's foods program. We don't know much. I'm sure they'll try to, depends who you ask. Well, this is how you'll find out. Viktor Orban put something out very, very cool. Said, warning, our fears have come true. The globalist liberal Soros NGO network is fleeing to Brussels after President Trump dealt a huge blow to their activities in the U.S. Now 63 of them are asking Brussels for money under the guise of various human rights projects. Not going to happen. We will not let them find safe haven in Europe. The USAID files exposed the dark practice of the globalist network. We will not take the bait again. And what's funny is we're literally shutting them down in our country. We are no longer funding them. They need money desperately, immediately now. So they're now running with their hands out everywhere. And everybody now understands what's actually up. This isn't legitimate. They're going to come out and say it's the Clean Water Act, it's the Help the Children Act, it's the Save the African Act. But it's not. It's the Give Us Money So We Can Launder It Act. That's what that is. Everybody's figuring it out. Baerbock lets slip billions for Ukraine after the election. The EU actually wanted to keep the weapons project secret until after the federal election, but Annalena Baerbock has let the cat out of the bag, the proverbial cat. But the foreign minister, she basically said EU was reportedly planning on spending 700 billion euros on a weapons package to arm Europe. A secret weapons plan. The EU is preparing an unprecedented financial package, according to this lady. So it'll be interesting who's going to pay for it, who is using it, because, again, we're done funding this war with Ukraine, so now they're going to push the big fear that Europe's going to get attacked by Russia, which would be just asinine, by the way. Russia would be effed, kind of, if they took on Europe. I mean, they could probably do some major damage if they just did an all-out assault nuclear-wise, I guess, right? They could probably take out some capitals pretty easily, but, yeah, it would be horrible, and they'd end up getting just nuked by others. I mean, no one would win that. They're just stupid. But this is the money grab. They want money. They're trying to create ways to do that, right? This is what's happening. And we are winning. And this is why I don't want to say losing, because that's the easy way to go, right? Well, we are winning, so therefore they are losing. No, they are being beaten. And they have been beating us and treating us as slaves. And it's almost like a prison riot, except I hate to think of us as prisoners, but to a degree, freedom is what we are finding, and there's no popo going to be in sight to stop this. Just to use the analogy. Really, I like the blue line and fond of police, and right, got a sheriff department really close to the house, which I think is wonderful. I like it, and I get nervous when they drive behind me too, just like everybody else of color or any other color, like white, black, brown, purple. We all get nervous when cops are behind us. Now, I understand it's a different experience for different races. I understand the concept of that. I don't know what it's like, obviously, but I do understand that they, of color, have different experiences, typically. All said. It's still scary for everybody. We've got a few things here to talk about with us winning and how they're losing legal battles left, right, or at least not getting what they wanted, even out of their crazy left-wing judges.
Quickly, we have some breaking news now, and this would appear to be another legal victory for the president and the person he's tasked with the Department of Government Efficiency, DOGE, Elon Musk. A federal judge has just declined to issue an order halting Elon Musk and DOGE from accessing federal data and slashing personnel. Attorneys general from 14 states are attempting to stop Musk and DOGE from accessing data in 7 federal agencies and from firing or putting on leave employees in those agencies. U.S. District Court Judge Chutkan just refused to issue a ruling from the bench. So at that point, she has not halted Musk and DOGE from continuing their actions inside the 7 agencies at issue here? Just real quickly, because of your legal background, your quick thinking.
All right. 2 of the Supreme Court justices have subtly indicated that they would like to strike down the prevailing rule. It's not statutory. Those 2 being Thomas and Kavanaugh, in dicta in other decisions. They'd like to get rid of this rule that a single district court judge someplace in the country can issue a ruling that holds for the entire country. It's not what the founding fathers expected here, and it's been gamed. And, you know, the right can do it too, so the left shouldn't be too quick to oppose that.
Yeah. So, yeah. She's doing a brilliant job. I want to so point out the cross thing. Whoever gave that to her is, I think it just looks, the way the clasp comes straight down from the chain, when you actually look at it from a visual perspective, it looks like an upside down cross versus, I'll give you guys a chance on this. What the hell? I wish she would, I wish whoever's close to her is, see, when you take it from here, which it is just one long piece, it's an upside down cross. It's not, though, because the clasp is actually more like down here. So I get it. Visually on TV, this looks like an upside down cross. What I wonder is who gave it to this sweet lady, because I don't think she represents this. I'm guessing it was a gift, is my guess. And I would consider either A, getting it attached differently or something, but this... that's intentional, folks. And I don't think I'm not saying she's, I'm just saying that's not an accident. I'm just saying. Here is another one of these things.
Can you give assurances to people who faithfully pay their taxes in this country? The DOGE isn't just going to go randomly sifting through the records and maybe come across the personal private records of a lot of Americans.
I can give absolute 100% insurance. I give you complete and total assurance on that point. We are talking about performing a basic anti-fraud review to ensure that people are not engaging in large-scale theft of federal taxpayer benefits. I mean, for example, we pay billions of dollars a year in child tax credit payments to illegal aliens. Billions with a B. So these are systematic, programmatic reforms that we're talking about here. And as far as protecting the secrecy of tax records, the IRS has been weaponized at the career level against the American people for years now. This has been one of the most invasive arms of the federal government, engaging in capricious and politically based audits, leaking taxpayer information for political reasons. We are restoring the neutrality. We are restoring ethics. We are restoring security controls at IRS. In fact, one of the big projects that DOGE is going to be working on is upgrading IT systems and software so that our taxpayer information cannot be stolen by criminals or foreign governments.
Okay, the way they're playing it against us, the way they're trying to say that he's trying to take down the jobs of the people that are actually doing the thing that matters. And it's like, no, he's not at all. And again, to remind everybody, when he bought Twitter, he let go of 90% of the staff, and everybody said, there's no way you'll be able to protect. They're going to get everybody's information. You're going to be hacked. No, he never was. 90% of the staff. That's astronomical. That is what is happening to the government. Yeah, I know, I get giddy every time I think of it too. Judge rules against federal employees suing Trump admin for privacy concerns. He's like, look, here's the thing. They know they're not supposed to share this data. They know they're supposed to keep it secret. He's got top secret clearance. You're basically saying, but he's going to share it with people. You're assuming a lot. You're basically implying criminality before it even happens. And you can't do that in the law. Even corrupt judges in this country can't run with that. They're like, you got to give me more. So far, I think there's been 2 different judges. Yeah, this is a D.C. federal judge, Judge Randolph Moss. He denied a request for a temporary restraining order that would have blocked the Office of Personnel Management from continuing to use the email. This is the funny one. They don't like the email hr@opm.gov because it's a single point of communication for everybody in government. They don't like it, and they keep like, well, we don't recognize this email address. Yes, it's got a .gov ending. Hello. I've taken all the stupid training crap you guys have taken too. Hello. It's a legitimate email address from within your company. So, again, this is them trying to make it seem like I'm not familiar with it, but it's a .gov email. So get used to the fact that they're now going to supersede your boss. They have the ability to communicate past the bureaucracy. The bureaucracy can no longer hold or stifle the movement, the information, whatever. This, in my opinion, is a step towards the emergency broadcast system or emergency alert system that everyone's been talking about with the Q post. We've never been anywhere near that happening. This is the closest step I've seen us take towards that at this point. We'll see. U.S. judge has rejected a bid to bar the government downsizing team created by President Donald Trump and spearheaded by Musk, of course, from accessing internal systems in the U.S. Department of Education that house federal student financial aid information concerning millions of Americans. Can you imagine how scared they are of us getting our hands on the financial aid stuff? How many people are probably not even students, never spent it on anything? They probably never validated or verified. Not even with the IRS, probably. Who knows, right? Depends who they want to go after. I don't know how that works, but they always seem to have their friends, people that get ignored. Washington-based U.S. District Judge Randolph Moss declined to issue. Opens a tab of a temporary restraining order. He just said, no, I'm not doing it, which I kind of think I already covered this. This, in my mind, was huge. I damn near teared up on this. I think I did a little bit. Whatever. Shut up. It's your fault. Dust in the air, some allergies, some stupid shit like that. Yeah. But what was exciting to me is I kind of have talked about this, and I wanted verification. I did. This is for me personally. I'm just sharing this with you guys. But I wanted validation. I understood that DOGE was the remake of an existing agency, and that they took the third letter and they made it DOGE instead of whatever the frick it used to be. This is now confirmed via Trump's filing. State of New Mexico versus Elon Musk. During today's hearing, the court asked counsel for defendants for further information regarding whether any federal employee terminations took place at the end of the last week and any future plans by non-defendants identified in the state's revised TRO, the Office of Personnel Management, the Department of Education, the Department of Labor, the Department of Health and Human Services, the Department of Energy, the Department of Transportation, and the Department of Commerce, to engage in any widespread layoffs or personnel actions within the next 14 days. Defendants are aware that a select set of agencies, in fact, terminated a number of employees at the end of last week. Defendants cannot make a programmatic representation at this juncture about how each of the 7 non-defendants noted above may go about personal actions over the next 2 weeks, meaning like, did they have any power? Can they, whatever, right? And then the part that gets beautiful is this last paragraph here. But, as the attached declaration of Joshua Fisher explains, Elon Musk, quote, has no actual or formal authority to make government decisions himself, end quote. Elon Musk is not in charge of anything. Any lawsuits against Elon Musk for what he's doing is absurd because he's not in charge. He's not firing anyone. He recommends, but he does not fire. So it continues, including personnel decisions at individual agencies. He is an employee of the White House office, not USDS or the U.S. DOGE Service Temporary Organization. Let me claim one more time here. He said specifically not USDS. USDS, that D is the DOGE. That is the existing Obama-created thing that was meant to help with the Obamacare website snafu. It had access to multiple departments' information. We took over something they left open and didn't know they had, frankly. So they're saying he's not even an employee of this organization, USDS. And that says it right there. DOGE is, in fact, part of USDS. Musk is volunteer. He's not an employee. He's an advisor. It's in the papers. It's filed in court. It is accurate. Elon Musk posted this. This is pretty crazy. Grok 3. This is Gavin Baker, whoever the hell he is. He talked about this. He goes, Grok 3 is the first model ever to score over 1,400 on Chatbot Arena and outperforms the best publicly available reasoning models from OpenAI and Google. XAI was founded 13 years after DeepMind and 8 years after OpenAI, and now is ahead of both. The SR-71 Blackbird of AI Labs. Kind of fun that they're reusing that plane as an analogy, because, couldn't really choose other stuff. Oh, here's the thing I thought I was finding earlier. So, yeah, Elon Musk posted looking for gold at Fort Knox, and then they show the Simpsons, or South Park, and it's gone. So, yeah, I think Musk knows that. I think he knows it's gone, and it's going to get called out. There's no way they can keep Trump out. So, yeah, again, just duplicating what I did already, but who's confirming the gold wasn't stolen from Fort Knox, as Elon Musk is saying. And Mike Lee's like, I've tried to get into that place before. It's locked down. It's locked down like Fort Knox. Wait, that's why we have that phrase. Nobody's allowed in there. Liberals are now demanding that Elon Musk be deported. I mean, it's just funny, right? Like, they're all about, you can't deport illegal immigrants. Get rid of Musk. Deport his ass. But he's African. He's an African-American. You want to deport him? Yeah. What about all the Hispanics that we're deporting? No, can't deport them. You kidding? Are you racist? Why is it okay to deport Musk? Because he's white and I don't like him? Oh, okay. I mean, you can't argue the logic based off of what they're telling me. All right, yeah, no, you got a really sound piece of argument there. I'm not going to fight with you. I'm going to go talk to people that aren't friggin' butthole crazy like you. Right? That's how that works. Musk's DOGE expected to arrive at SEC in coming days. He's going to be showing up there. Uh-oh. Security and Exchange Commission, just to get in front of the story. They're going to say, but he's been investigated by them, so it's not fair that he looks into it. It's coming. If it hasn't already, it'll be there in 4 seconds. Oh, hang on, no. It'll be there in 17 seconds. Sorry. Education Department slashes grants for training teachers on divisive ideologies. So literally the Education Department of Education is cut DEI training money already. Now, they're probably going to get shut down entirely, but they're getting gutted first. And this is also going to cause panic with unions and everybody else. There's going to be lawsuits everywhere. This whole thing with Eric Adams is fun. I am enjoying the hell out of this. And, I mean, Eric, I don't wish you any harm, sir. I actually think, I'm almost sure at this point, you're a good dude. I actually think you're a good dude. Or at least have chosen the righteous path, if you will. But, man, you are going to have a tough little... what is it, when people throw food at the stage? I don't know if there's a name for that, but that's what you're about to go through. You are going to get chastised by your peeps. Judge orders a hearing over Trump's Department of Justice's bid to toss Eric Adams' corruption case. They're like, we had a case. We had a case, people. Why do you want to drop it? They're the ones that are actually saying we want to prosecute. The prosecutors are like, yeah, we don't want to prosecute anymore. And they're like, the judge is like, well, no, you got to come talk to me and tell me why. We don't want to prosecute anymore. Huh? When's that ever? I don't even know if that's ever happened anymore. I don't know if my brain's just like, people are going to be like, that happens all the time. I'm sure I got some lawyers out there. These emails will be very welcome. But yeah, I mean, whatever. It is beyond bizarre that this is the arguments we're having right now. So anyway, they're pissed off that Trump's Department of Justice dropped the case against Mayor Eric Adams. We've got now Kathy Hochul. She says she's considering removing him. For what? I don't know. Earlier today, I spoke with First Deputy Mayor Maria Torres Springer to express my gratitude for her years of service to New York City. She, along with Deputy Mayors Ann Williams, Mira Joshi, and Chauncey Parker, I've been strong partners with my administration across dozens of key issues. If they feel unable to serve in City Hall at this time, that raises serious questions about the long-term future of this mayoral administration. We seem to be getting rid of people in City Hall. And what would cause somebody to quit a job where they feel douchey enough and compelled enough to constantly be against the grain, right? What would change that? Would it potentially be, we have dirt on you? That might be one thing. Would it be, we have proof of corruption against you? That could be, similar to the first thing, but slightly different. One's got to wonder why certain people are leaving City Hall, because this is part of the problem, and we had the video a day or two ago where Eric Adams was talking about that. He was hanging out with the Homo, or what's his name? Geez, how am I forgetting his name? But the Department of Home, the Border Patrol guy, right? That guy. They were talking together, and they were on Fox, and they were talking about this. There's something way bigger going on right now. And Eric Adams is fighting the fight in a big way. I think he's going to become probably New York's governor. That's, I think, what's happening. Just to, kind of spoiler alert a little bit. We'll see. This is in Philadelphia. Minivans supposedly being part of ICE, though it seems like an odd, maybe this is an ICE type vehicle. It's obviously not a policey type vehicle, but whatever the case is, they set it on fire. And he seems concerned. This dude gets behind a wall almost like, oh, there's definitely some, like bullets in there or something. That doesn't sound good. So yeah, you've got a gun that's just firing away, it sounds like. Sure it's not an IRS car? They just don't want to admit it? Yeah, so whatever the case is. They're saying it's ICE. ICE, IRS, which letters do you want to jump to? Only one story with Trump. I thought there'd be more. Donald Trump made a post. This isn't even on Truth. He actually did this on X. He wanted everybody to see it. Said on trade, I have decided, for purposes of fairness, that I will charge a reciprocal tariff, meaning whatever countries charge the United States of America, we will charge them. No more, no less. For purposes of this United States policy, we will consider countries that use the VAT system, value-added tax system, which is far more punitive than a tariff, to be similar to that of a tariff. Sending merchandise, product, or anything by any other name through another country for purposes of unfairly harming America will not be accepted. In addition, we will make provision for subsidies provided by countries in order to take economic advantage of the United States. Likewise, provisions will be made for non-monetary tariffs and trade barriers that some countries charge in order to keep our products out of their domain, or if they do not even let U.S. business operate. We are able to accurately determine the cost of these non-monetary trade barriers. It is fair to all. No other country can complain, and in some cases, if a country feels that the United States would be getting too high a tariff, all they have to do is reduce or terminate their tariff against us. There are no tariffs if you manufacture or build your product in the United States. For many years, the U.S. has been treated unfairly by other countries, both friend and foe. This system will immediately bring fairness and prosperity back into the previously complex and unfair system of trade. America has helped many countries throughout the years at great financial cost. It is now time that these countries remember this and treat us fairly, a level playing field for American workers. I have instructed my Secretary of State, Secretary of Commerce, Secretary of Treasury, United States Trade Representative to do all work necessary to deliver reciprocity to our system of trade. Very big movement. Gotta like that. U.S. Appeals Court blocks Biden's SAVE plan for student loans. The one thing that jumps out at me with this thing, they've stopped it, which is cool. We figured they would because they stopped every single one. But what it seems like is I think there were 8 states, something like that, that filed this. Now, I think they were all basically southern states. It's almost like Biden was literally looking for specific places that had student loans that owed that money back, that either A, states would get taxes on, or states got money from in some way, shape, or form. Whatever the case was, these states have been able to prove damage that this would cause them financially. And it's why they've been able to block it. Because he can't unilaterally cause damage to states like that and not necessarily other states. And that's the thing that stepped out at me a little bit. Like, it seems like they're pointed at states that are specifically conservative or religious or whatever. Pope Francis has bilateral pneumonia. At least my best understanding of that is he has it on both sides now. It's not just in one lobe. So this is getting worse, is what it sounds like to me. If this is an actual image of him, he looks horrible. I'm not sure what actor this is, but he's in bad shape, possibly. He might not be with us anyway, whatever the case was. Many have suggested this will be the final pope. I'm very curious how this part of the story plays out, to be honest with you. Just something I've... the Vatican, was it there's the three little girls that, I don't know, I'm drawing a blank on what their names, the Fatima prophecies, I think it was. Those are a trip, and the third one was, not good for the Catholic Church. That's why they never released it. So much good stuff out there that we've tried to get our hands on over the years. I want to remind you guys the system is a little sketch at this point in time. And again, staying around in the deep state system is something I just consider to be a bad idea. It's one of the reasons why I partnered with this incredible company. They don't believe all the crazy crap I talk about, but what they do handle is getting you out of their system tax-free and penalty-free. And what I mean by that, anyways, is if you're in a 401k or an IRA, or if you just got a bunch of cash, but let's stick with the first ones first. If you're in a 401k or an IRA, you can move that money tax-free and penalty-free. You don't have to do all of it. In fact, we usually recommend you don't. 50% maybe at max. But moving it into the precious metals IRA basket, you're actually literally getting physical metals, literally, and it goes into a trust. That's what your money is buying. Physical metals that belong to you. And that way you're not so determined or dependent, I should say, on the deep state dollar, which many say the Fed has to come down. How that plays out, don't know. But protecting ourselves from that is something that makes sense. And the stock markets and the fact that they've been messing with their earnings reports, best we can tell. They've been messing with CPI and the actual numbers that we're dealing with. They've been messing with a lot of the stuff. And when those real numbers, when they get adjusted and show to the world, well, the stock market always has a hard time with that too. So let's think of all the lies that were told leading up to the election. Let's think of all the lies that are going to be finally told to us now that Trump's in charge. I'm telling you folks, being in their system, I don't think is the best idea. I would consider moving tax-free, penalty-free out. I don't recommend waiting a lot of time. You got money in a 401k or an IRA, up to 10% of the face value of that, you can get free silver. Also, they have the highest price buyback guarantee. On top of that, if you put in the 4 data points, whether you do it here, because you're going to get a free coin here, or if you do it even here, same 4 data points, you click the button, it's going to pop up a thing that says, hey, give us a call at this number. Of course, it helps the channel, so I appreciate you guys, but give a call at this number, and we will help you take care of this. That's going to get you that free coin, most likely, if you're in a qualifying 401k IRA. You're also going to get some other really cool stuff, but most importantly, you're going to get the ability to get out of their system tax-free and penalty-free. These guys did DocuSign when I was a customer, and I loved it, so I was just able to do it really easily. I bought some precious metals from them. I love it. And you can do that too if you've got some cash, like I said. Same thing, 4 data points. Just be like, yeah, I got some money. I'd like to buy some precious metals, man. They got gold, they got silver, they got platinum, they got palladium, they got other stuff. They've got a whole bunch of stuff. You can look into it and ask them and get information. 4 data points, click the button, same applies. And they've also reduced the minimum that you have to have, so it's a great way to try to get some of that precious metals action. Go to drslikesgold.com, drslikesgold.com. Get out of their system before they get out of you. Again, Goldco doesn't buy in all the crazy, but they're going to help you do it. drslikesgold.com, drslikesgold.com. Seriously, get out of that damn system. We got what I'm calling Preparation H. Mainly because there's a pucker factor and there's preparation being made for things that are coming. So that was where I ironically called it Preparation H. Couple stories. The head of NATO on Monday praised President Trump for taking the initiative to pursue an end to the Ukraine war and knocked Europe for complaining instead of getting its act together. NATO Secretary General Mark Rutte, 58, who has been dubbed the Trump Whisperer, emphasized the importance of American leadership to ending Russia's war on Ukraine and suggested that European countries are beginning to step up because of it. He says, I have great trust in the American team conducting those talks. Ukraine will be part of those talks, no doubt, Rutte told Fox News, the story, I guess, right? Europe wants to have a place at the table. Well, I told them, fight yourself a way to the table by coming up with concrete proposals. That is now happening. So I absolutely reject the criticism of President Trump's initiative. I think it is only right that he tries to end this war, and we need American leadership there. Like, who cares? Like, whether you agree with the terms, like, did the war stop? All right, we're much better off. We can worry about some of the other stuff later. Donald Trump truthed this out. U.S. forces conducted precision airstrikes against a member of Al-Qaeda in Syria this weekend. The terrorist leader was working with Al-Qaeda across the region. Congratulations to CENTCOM Commander General Michael Correa, I'm not sure, and the U.S. warfighters who dealt justice to another jihadi threatening America and our allies and partners. So Trump is kicking some ass. Mike Waltz, Trump says, is deadly serious about stopping Iran from attaining nuclear weapons. The possibility of us striking those facilities seems to very much be on the table from what's being played to the world right now. Iran is being threatened, basically being told, look, you will never have a nuclear weapon because we know what you'll do with it, period. End of story. End of story. You'll never be trusted to have one. Your neighbors might, but you will never. It'll create a nuclear weapon race within the Middle East, and it will just cause enormous problems on this planet. So, no. And we will do whatever we need to do to make sure that happens. And so, yeah, they talk about the potentiality of, a fight, of taking that stuff out. Now, Hamas is releasing 6 more hostages and the bodies of 4 others. They're doing this Saturday. The bodies of 4 deceased hostages. 4 more dead hostages are expected to be released next week in accordance with the ceasefire agreement. The hostages will be released on Saturday. They've been identified as Liakon Tal Shoham, Omer Shem Tav, Omer Wenkratz, Hisham Al Sayed, and Avera Mengistu. According to Israeli officials, these are the missing hostages, and families have probably already been told prior to this being released, I guess. They're going to release these people before they release the live ones. I don't know how that's going to go. Don't know how Israel's going to feel about all this. Or they want to get all of them. Trump is kind of like, or all hell will break out. So I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen. But the allowance for Israel to take it to the next level has definitely happened. And the fact that they're now giving us just dead bodies, too, on top of everything else, I don't think is necessarily a positive thing either, right? So we'll see. China rebukes U.S. over State Department website change on Taiwan independence. This was a big move by the Trump administration, but they changed the phrasing of "we do not support Taiwan independence." They removed that from the site, this website for Taiwan. The U.S. State Department removed that phrase, "we do not support Taiwan," or their independence, I should say. So, China's super pissed about that. It's kind of a big deal to them. Obviously, there was a weapons deal made with Taiwan, supposedly, for tanks and stuff, like some legit ground technology that China would have to deal with. And it was a pretty significant dollar amount, too, for that matter. It was like, I want to say hundreds of billions of dollars, like tanks and all sorts of crazy crap. Congress unmasked perils of Beijing-Biden era China's expanding mass espionage efforts. So a lot of this stuff they're finding out. This revelations made 2 years ago that Joe Biden's family sought to cash in on communist China with millions in payments immediately raised concerns about what Beijing got in return. Now, New evidence unearthed by the U.S. House suggests America's main adversary may have succeeded in launching a mass espionage blitz on the last administration's watch. The House Homeland Security Committee last week painted the contours of China's surveillance surge, documenting more than 60 espionage operations in 20 states during the Biden administration that unmasked the breadth of Beijing's efforts to steal America's intellectual property and the tools of its military might. In addition, lawmakers confirmed that Chinese spy balloon that embarrassed the Biden administration 2 years ago when it traversed U.S. airspace for days unimpeded likely contained technologies from multiple U.S. companies, illustrating how Beijing even uses U.S. friendships to gain advantage. There are still people who see China like we used to see it, as an economic partner. They are not that. They are an enemy. Now, I just want to clarify, China's not an enemy. It's the CCP that's an enemy. Please keep that in mind always. The Chinese people are wonderful, beautiful people, just like everywhere else on this planet. Everyone's beautiful people. Chinese leadership under Xi, they want to see China at the top of the international world order, and they want to see the international world order working to advantage China. So if they can get through the theft of intellectual property and they can create disruption inside our own country, they are going to do that. So this is what they've been doing. They've been stealing technology. Now, I'll be honest, I honestly think what's going to happen is a major technology boom that's going to happen in this world. I do believe we're going to be working on jointly creating, I think, space stuff going to other places, kind of a Star Trek-ish sort of world, and it will require the whole world working together. I honestly think some of why China has ended up with a lot of the technology, I don't condone it, but some of why I think they ended up with it, because it happened, is because they were so far behind technologically that they need to be a part of this future world. And it's also why 3 poles need to happen, because everybody needs to have their own say, and it needs to stop being all just the United States that decides what everybody's going to do. Now, we do represent freedom, and we are going to take down the deep state, which is a huge part of this, but ultimately, I think our future it's going to be very global, and we're all going to be getting along, and it's going to be a beautiful place. And I don't want to sound like all kumbaya, but we are taking down the deep state. People are like, well, it's human nature to be assholes. No, it's not. Human nature is to be wonderful to each other. It's evil's nature to be assholes. That's what's being removed. So keep that in mind. The world is changing in major, major ways. U.S. Special Forces are landing in Mexico to train Marine infantry down there. I think this is preparation basically for what's going to be happening against the cartels. I think this is also a show of force to them. And they're like, look, here's the thing. We're training your own people how to be able to take you down. Now, I would assume that the cartels have definitely infiltrated the military. So I kind of wonder how that plays out. But all said, the Americans are doing some cool stuff down there. Exclusive CIA flying covert drone missions into Mexico to spy on drug cartels. This is alleged sources telling us this, but this doesn't surprise me at all. Trump administration possibly flying MQ-9 Reaper drones over Mexico. And they could be flying them, folks, on just international waters all around the country and gain all sorts of information. If Mexico's letting us, which they might be, we could fly them straight the hell over, too. So who knows? But yes, I am sure we are preparing for something in our southern border. And maybe we use the distraction of other things in the world. Maybe they all happen at once. Who knows? This is kind of cool image that was created, or actual video. But this is Marco Rubio meeting with Russia. Their counterpart, Sergei Lavrov. We've heard him before. This is gentleman over here on the right at the table. This guy right up front. I don't know who the dude is behind him. Of course, Rubio right there. So, and then Saudi Arabia at the head of the table. This is a big deal. And they're, sitting at equal places. Hopefully peace is what will come. I think it is. It'll play out at the way it does, at the speed it does, but still nonetheless super cool. Marco Rubio kind of stating his 3 points. I haven't actually listened to this. I'm hoping it's good.
Appoint our teams respectively to work very quickly to reestablish the functionality of our respective missions in Washington and in Moscow. For us to be able to continue to move down this road, we need to have diplomatic facilities that are operating and functioning normally. That we're going to appoint a high-level team from our end to help negotiate and work through the end of the conflict in Ukraine in a way that's enduring and acceptable to all the parties engaged. The third point is to begin to work at a high level as well to begin to discuss and think about and examine both the geopolitical and economic cooperation that could result from an end to the conflict in Ukraine.
Yeah, there was already some stories going out about like Visa and MasterCard getting back into Russia because ultimately they're going to become part of the world again, even though they've got their own system. And that was actually the big argument. It's like, nah, we kind of got our own thing. Don't know if we ever want to go back to what you guys did to us. So it's an interesting point that's being made, and curious to see how that plays out as well, because I've wondered. I know BRICS is being shot down, and probably should be, don't get me wrong, but yeah, the system that would make the most sense is to hijack the existing system and get the deep state out of it. If that's harder said than done, then having a spun up system that's been tested might make sense. So I don't know, I think BRICS has kind of always been like the backup plan, frankly. Vladimir Putin's team have asked for new conditions, though. They've got something they'd like to have taken care of as well. But Kirill Dmitriev, head of Russian Sovereign Wealth Fund, said both sides spoke to each other respectfully, but it was too early to talk about compromises. Then let's see what he said. The reporters, it's not enough for NATO to refuse to allow Ukraine to join. That's right. They wanted it to be like they'll never be allowed to join NATO, like ever. Like just state that publicly and we'll be much happier with you. That was a big thing that they were kind of talking about. I'm sure they are willing to agree to that, right? Pete Hegseth posted this. Of course, the outgoing Biden IRS rushed an audit of the incoming SecDef total sham. The party of norms and decency strikes again. We will never back down. Yeah, so they're going after him for tax paid. Yeah, again, the games, let the games begin, as they would say. Global Government Affairs, as the X channel, said Germany submits the highest number of legal demands for user data to X within the European Union, with about 87% of these requests targeting speech-related offenses. X believes that these legal demands for users' data are unlawful and has taken cases in both German federal and state courts challenging the lawfulness of the government's overreach into our users' privacy and freedom of expression. It's kind of a big story. Couple crazy things that have come out, and I wanted to read these. Brian 2 posted this, and this I think is very important for all of you guys that literally get out there and engage in the Twitterverse and everything else. You guys need to understand that there's a lot of bots. Bots are usable to even smaller accounts. That's what's so amazing about them. And there's a difference between a bot, if you will, a chatter bot, and what's the other one? Chatterbot and a chatterbox. Both of which are significant, and it's kind of interesting how you can sort of tell. This gives some really good advice. Maybe they'll get smarter about doing it, but I don't think it goes against AI programming, so it would be kind of a pain in the ass. So how to recognize chatterbots like the ones in this chat. A chatterbot is, let's actually open this up from here, so there's some extra, I think, slides on this. A chatterbot is an automated AI special language software program, and to recognize these disinformation, misinformation, and misdirection attacks, one first must understand the difference between a chatterbot and a chatterbox. A chatterbot is a single automated AI special language software program. A chatterbox is a group of two or more automated AI special language software programs targeting the victims or group simultaneously. In mind control technologies, the main purposes of chatterboxes, or bots as they are often called, is for neuro-linguistic programming to keep the minds entrained and hypnotized with automata, brainwash them through repetition, aid in personality alterations, and distract the mind to dysfunction via repetition as torture, utilizing sensation methods to phrases and words. Online chatterbots often start sentences using expletives, profanities, or phrases that will quickly draw the target's immediate attention, like, wow, holy crap, or fire, I need to tell you something, or can I ask you a question? So, if you see a pattern of these phrases develop during a chat or online conversation with someone, then realize you are talking to a chatterbot. Oops. Where did yeah. Online chatterboxes are used over the internet to sow dissension and to disseminate false information so as to control, infiltrate, and manipulate the flow of online information to warp real-time disclosure of information, I think they're saying. And helps through the online activism, right? Through disinformation, lies, and misinformation, half-truths, by engaging in misdirection, cyber theater, techniques, and tactics against those who try to expose the truth. Chatterbots are often used as moderators in real space groups or conference calls and support groups to take control of the conversation. Many subjects can be fooled for a long duration. The flaws that make subjects realize they are talking to a machine are numerous. The vocabulary is limited. The conversation topics are limited. There is little memory and logic. There is, and even the language is too perfect for a human to spit out in a normal conversation. To err is human, and the chatterbots are not programmed to err in grammar or spelling. While error could be programmed into the chatterbot, it would be counterproductive to the overall objective of entraining the mind or capturing the target's long-term attention, per Dr. Robert Duncan, CIA neuroscientist, Project Soulcatcher. Chatterbots allow the government contractors to use any voice via voice modulation software. They never tire out. This allows for infinite automated responses let's see. Technology of these automated AI special language software programs is so sophisticated and advanced that unless you can see these online patterns of speech and behavior developing, you will have no idea you are communicating with, talking to, or arguing with a computer program. Chatterbots are not just used to spread disinformation, lies, or misinformation, half-truths, or even misdirections, cyber theater, but to constantly disrupt the conversation of real, targeted individuals who are having good conversations. That is what they're trying to do. So, big stuff. Now, this is just, I'm not trying to get off, but it does remind me of the buddy Larry out there. I'm almost wondering if you guys are tapping into something or if something's borrowing information, because it sounded similar to something he was working on. Elon Musk, using all of your abilities, this is a question he asks Grok 3.0. It says, using all of your abilities, provide 3 useful, truly novel insights. Blah, blah, blah. And he says, as Grok 3, I'll aim to provide 3 novel insights about the nature of gravity and why it resists influence compared to the other fundamental forces, electromagnetism, the strong nuclear force, and the weak nuclear force. These ideas will be speculative yet grounded in a synthesis of current yada. What is interesting is his first insight. I'm just going to read this one paragraph because it's just so crazy and incredible, and who knows? Maybe it's right. Might be. Gravity might not be a force in the traditional sense, but a macroscopic shadow of quantum entanglement across higher dimensional structures that we cannot directly access. Unlike the other fundamental forces, which are mediated by particles, photons, gluons, WZ bosons. What is that? I don't know. I don't know what the WZ is. With bosons also, operating within the observable 3 plus 1 space-time. I assume that's 3D plus 1, including time as the 4th dimension. So I'm assuming that's what 3 plus 1 space-time. Gravity could be the emergent effect of entanglement, leakage from a higher dimensional substrate, say a 10 or 11 dimensional manifold, as suggested by string theory. The key novelty here is that this entanglement isn't localized to particle interactions, but is a global property of space-time itself, distributed across all points uniformly. Why can't we influence it? The mediators of other forces, gauge bosons, exist within our space-time and can be excited or manipulated with energy inputs, yada, yada. It's a powerful question. I think it gets into manifesting. I think it gets into quantum. But whatever the case is, he's trying to figure out gravity. I don't want to read all of this, but it's actually incredible what it's getting into. Actually talks about the percentage of oxygen in the atmosphere actually affecting gravity. Again, whether it's true or not sure, but it would help explain how the dinosaurs were possible, because frankly, that's one of the biggest concerns right now is how did these animals exist of such size if they did? I mean, there's a lot of people that don't believe that they existed, so I'm not trying to have that debate, but assuming that the bits of skeleton we do have are actually actual skeleton from these things and not made up. It would explain how we could have had animals that are literally larger than a giraffe. Giraffes literally can have like lightheadedness if their head gets down too low. And if they get too much bigger, the size of the heart that's needed to actually pump blood all the way up to the brain it's insane. The heart would have to be extremely large. So it's a weird thing. So it's talking about some crazy ass stuff that, I don't know, might be right. Meta doing finally something that I've got to actually give credit for or two. Almost impressed, actually. They are literally going to help lay billions of dollars of undersea cable, hopefully not just for Meta, but for the internet. I don't know who's paying for this or if this is just their penance to the world, which is kind of my hope. But they're going to be laying 50,000 kilometers of enhanced global digital highways, mainly to try to help connect India, probably because they've got so many people working there. But it's also one of the largest markets that's expanding into the world. So they are trying to get some literally just straight shots to the United States, probably straight shots to Europe and other places. So Meta's going to help do that. I don't know, kind of cool, I thought. Probably the last time you'll ever hear me say anything positive at all about Meta. Don't like them. All said, a lot happening. We are changing the world. And everybody's talking I found it on before it's news or something, and Cliff High was talking. This was back before the election, making some prognostications, and it was just like, wow. And he said end of February, so that was the one thing that it's still not quite defined yet. But everything else, and I love Cliff, everything else was wrong, 100% wrong. And those post the period where he had the interview, where Joe Rogan had the interview with Trump. That, 45 days or whatever after that, the melee was supposed to start, for any of you guys that maybe don't know or are wondering what the hell I'm talking about specifically. And it seems that that's not happened. A lot of the discussions of what was going to happen post the election didn't happen. And again, I think a lot of us wondered and thought, and maybe it was a possibility of violence and protest and everything else, but it seems none of that happened. And I think a lot of what's different now is the way media's contained and controlled and talked about. It's not really controlled, if you will. It's more open, but it used to be controlled. And so their message is contained. Their propaganda is being controlled, and the rest of us are speaking truth, and most people are actually finding out about it, and the numbers are growing. This is a pretty unique time, pretty interesting. So the future is never set in stone. Even if the people that are great, that we trust, tell us something's going to happen, future hasn't happened yet, folks. There's a lot of decisions by a lot of people that still need to happen before that moment finally manifests for real. Understand that, because we're here to change things before it happens and not accept the crap version of reality that many want us to accept, but maybe enhance that reality, make it better. We don't have to go through a shit zone. We can actually do better than that. And I think that's what a lot of us are here to help with. I hope so anyways. Where we go one, we go all. It's on the Fringe with Dan Radio Style.